You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits, B Pro Kennels, and Final Rise. If you've ever considered a dog box, if you are getting more dogs, even if you just have one or two or three, and considered, hey, I'd love to put a dog box in the back of my truck, well, then you're going to want to check out B Pro Kennels. Talk to Ben over there. Start dreaming and designing your custom box today. These are some of the most creative and innovative boxes I've seen, with a solar panel and battery bank up top to take care of all your charging needs while out on the road chasing birds this fall. Check them out, bprokennels.com. Talk to Ben. Tell him I sent you over there. Use code ROOKIE10. Save 10% off your order with B Pro Kennels. Final Rise is making the bird vest that I trust and use and will only ever use. Final Rise, I have the Sidekick vest as well as the Summit. Now, the Summit vest I've had for many seasons and love this thing to death. From the waist belt to the shoulder harness, the customization of the pockets, this vest doesn't get better for the serious upland bird hunter. So check them out at finalrise.com. I also want to thank Trinity Bretons for their continued support and sponsorship of the podcast. Josh and Jeff Ryder have now been the longest sponsor of this podcast, or longest consecutive, I should say. And I'm super thankful for their partnership and just their belief in the podcast and their friendships with both of them. I did an episode with Jeff Ryder. We're going to be releasing that here in another week or two. We dive into a ton about breeding and genetics. We kind of take a sidetrack on training, but that's going to be a really fun episode that you're going to want to tune into. I did an episode with Josh Ryder several months ago. It was actually last September. It's episode 24. So if you want to learn more about Trinity Bretons, check out episode 24 of the Upland Rookie podcast. If not, look forward to a new episode with them dropping in a couple weeks. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is episode 55 of the Upland Rookie Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I have a lot to cover in this intro, so we're going to dive right in. First off, I have my new pup, Mac, sitting with me at the desk right now. So I'm going to try to keep this short because he probably needs to go potty right now. It is bright and early on a Monday morning, and I've been up a couple times getting him out of the crate, going potty, all that fun stuff. I forgot, guys. I forgot how much work this is. It's honestly not terrible, but just waking up 2 times a night right now, just get him out of the crate, go potty. So he's actually been doing really well. So good reports on that front. Maybe next week I'll talk a little bit more about just the puppy experience, what I've learned. I've been through this a few times now, what I've learned through the puppy experience, some things I do in the first couple weeks with them. So stay tuned next week. I'll do a little bit deeper dive on the puppy stage, but he's a good boy. He's just chilling right now. He's a little over 8 weeks, and he's been a great addition to the family, and really excited for his future. So yeah, he's looking at me right now. He's like, what are you talking about? Oh, get used to this, buddy. This is a podcast we do every week, so get used to it. We're dog sitting my brother's Labradoodle right now, and this thing's massive. It's like, I don't even know how tall. It's like 3.5 feet tall dog, maybe more. And it's like 105 pounds. It's big. Anyways, Mac's not a big fan of him. He's a little intimidating, but Gage and Win, he's like, hey, you guys are my people. I'll hang out with you. But the Labradoodle, he's a little nervous of. Thing's a freaking beast. Anyways, we're going to dive into a couple things here on the show. So first off, patrons, thank you for your support over at Patreon. Do not forget, August is nearing its end-ish. We are midway through August, and we are going to be drawing the August winner on September 1st. So September 1st, we are going to pick a winner from Patreon, and you are going to get your choice of either the Cable Gang's tie-out system, a knife from Upland Knife Company, or the Gunner Fan Kit 2.0. Remember, it's winner's choice. So whoever wins August is going to get to choose their prize. 3 tiers over at Patreon. The basic wing shooter for $5 a month will get you entered into the giveaway, and your name goes in a couple extra times for the elite wing shooter level and the gold level wing shooter. So you can read all about the details over there. I wanted to mention about last week we talked a little bit more about cable gangs. This week I want to talk a little bit more about Upland Knife Company. Now, Upland Knives and Mike Thompson over there making these knives by hand up in Montana. So these are an American-made product. He is making from scratch, start to finish. I love checking out his stories and his videos over on Instagram and just seeing the process that he is doing to create each and every one of these knives, the handle, the blade, everything. He's doing some etching in some of these blades and sheaths. It's a cool process, guys. And these are knives that are, these are, I don't know if you call them like legacy pieces or something that you will get to pass down from generation to generation. And these things are just nice. Like you think about a nice shotgun and how much pride and joy we take in a nice shotgun. Well, these knives are, I think, the equivalent to the, granddaddy shotgun. And so he just revamped his website actually. So take a look at his website. He's got some knives that are available. Most of his stuff is custom from scratch. And so he just released a bunch of new cool merchandise as well. He's got some new mugs and shirts and stickers and all that kind of good stuff over at his website. So check out Mike Thompson and Upland Knife Company. Again, American-made product. Mike's been a great dude, great advocate for the podcast. And so really thankful for him giving a knife away to a winner of the podcast. And so a knife could be yours or Cable Gang System or the Gunner Fan Kit. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com. Hey, last week we did an episode with Suzanne Love and Ronnie Smith. And that episode, guys, was so much fun. And the response from that episode has been so positive and so encouraging. So thank you guys. Thank you for helping share the episode and commenting and just your support. I've heard from a lot of you just that you've been following the Smith method for a long time, but you learned something new last week. And so that means a lot that you guys took something away from that conversation. I know I did for sure. It was so much fun. I just really enjoy their knowledge, the way they deliver information, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you guys on that. Okay, what else do I have? I think we're going to get ready to dive in. Like I said, next week we'll dive in a little bit further on puppyhood of this dog, Mac. He's getting a little excited right now. I think he's got to go outside. He just had his breakfast. And so Mac, I will tell you guys, because I mentioned this a while ago. Mac is short for McKinnon, and McKinnon on the Colorado Avalanche just won the Stanley Cup this year. And we're a big hockey family, if you did not know that. And so his registered name is going to be Upland Brits McKinnon Found a Way. Now, if you don't live in Colorado, this might not make sense to you. So the team slogan, if you will, throughout their playoff run in the Stanley Cup in 2022 was Find capital A Way. Find a Way. Avalanche A. I hope you guys are tracking. Anyways, they changed all the billboards and all the slogans after they won to the Avs Found a Way. So McKinnon, this was his first Stanley Cup. Again, big hockey family. Love the guy. And so Upland Brits, McKinnon Found a Way is his name. Call him Mac, and or Mac Dog. You might hear me refer to him sometimes. So great little dog so far. Comes from a great line and a great breeding. That was one of the things that excited me most to get him. I was not looking for a third dog right now. Definitely have plans to had plans to get a third dog, maybe even a fourth dog down the road. But once I heard this breeding come up, learned more about the sire. I knew the dam. We were driving back from Texas actually over 4th of July, and had a long conversation with the wife, and just felt like it was kind of the right thing to do, and couldn't pass this one up. And so that's kind of what led us into dog number 3 right now. And so we're really excited. Again, genetics and parents and grandparents and great grandparents is really what I look at when I am picking a dog. And so it's not just, oh, we want a cute little new puppy right now. That's all fun and games, I guess. It's a lot of work, like I mentioned earlier. But the big thing is knowing who this dog's parents, grandparents, and great grandparents were. I was just having a conversation with Jeff the other day, Jeff Hoskins, and we were going into the Brittany lines and the great grandparents and what they did. He judged them, he saw them, and all this stuff. And it was a lot of fun just to learn more about some of these specific dogs. And so that's what gets me excited about these dogs. That's what gets me excited about Mac and Win and Gage, is of knowing who they come from and what lines and what those dogs behind them, what they did and what they accomplished, and what kind of foot hunters they were, and what kind of trialing dogs they were, how were they biddable, what was their gait like, what was their build, what was their temperament, all those things. Those are the things that you need to be asking and looking for when you are picking out a puppy. And so I could go into this much longer, but as you can hear, Mac is ready to go out. So we're going to cut this short. This is conversation number 2 with Matt Davis. He's our first repeat guest of the podcast. Matt Davis, owner and owner of Final Rise. You guys know I love Final Rise. I love what Matt's doing with his company, how he's building it. The products he's putting out are top notch. I cannot say enough about them. So we're going to dive into the interview, episode 55 with Matthew Davis. I saw you just picked up a new puppy, didn't you, pretty recently?
I did. I don't know.
You say that not very excited.
No, I am excited. I'm just so busy, dude. I have this thing I've been telling myself that I haven't got a dog, because I'm like, dude, it's not fair to the dog. One, if I don't have the time that dog needs. And so it was kind of this back and forth. And anyways, long story short, so my father-in-law bred his 2 dogs, and both are wonderful dogs. I've spent a lot of times behind both of them. I mean, nothing crazy in their lines, but they're good hunting dogs. They're good meat dogs. I call them meat dogs. And anyway, so he bred them, and there's just one male in there. We were there, from the time the little things were born to basically when they were ready to start moving dogs and stuff like that. And this little dude just stuck out to me, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be mad at yourself if you don't take him. So my life's just and it's good. I love it. It's like, I honestly think I needed that.
So you weren't, I was going to say, you weren't really planning though to get one. Yeah. Cause you're running like 1,000,000 miles an hour, man.
No, I get people trying to give me dogs all the time. And I'm like, dude, no, like I'm just not in a place for it. And I did it.
We've all been there, man. We've all been to that place where like, well, I wasn't planning on this, but here's my new puppy.
Yep. No, he's awesome, dude. Very intelligent animal. Very intelligent animal. So he'll be easier than my last one. And that was maybe where like I was like, oh, dude, like Chief, he's a monster in the field, dude. I don't know if I will ever own a dog that like does what he does and handles how well he handles. But other than that, dude, I could just choke slam him. I mean, he's just he's an asshole, dude. And that is that dog's personality. There's nothing you can do about
with a name like Chief, he just sounds like a badass.
He's a bad mama jama, dude. I love pulling him out of the box in front of people. Whoa, look at that.
Is he a big boy? Is he just a built?
He's fun, but he's hard, dude. He's the hardest puppy I've ever had, hardest dog I've ever had. And I think that's good. At the end of the day, I think dogs are like people, right? There's those ebbs and flows, and you find out real quick what you like and what you don't like. And I like all of them. I like all my dogs, obviously. But I think the biggest thing is like I'm learning, right? Like I'm learning how to better handle a dog, how to hunt dogs, different things like that. And I'm not even at the level of training that you guys are at and what you guys do. I mean, again, I guess I call them meat dogs basically, but it's like I'm dropping dogs to go out and shoot birds, and they do exactly what I need them to. So
100%, man. And it's funny. Some people will say that kind of like you just did, like, oh, they're just meat dogs. Meat dogs are still badass dog. Like it's doing what you're intending it to do. Like you have a dog to go hunt wild birds, and your dog is doing exactly that.
Dude, I've hunted with plenty of guys that have done all sorts of testing and trialing and stuff like that, and they watch some of these dogs we put down, these meat dogs, and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah, give me a couple of them meat dogs, because they are they're getting it done.
All that dog knows. That is all that dog knows is to find birds. That's all he knows.
So do you have two? So is this number 3, or is this number 2?
I have 4 dogs.
Oh, okay.
So I've got 3 short hairs and I've got a lab.
Okay, nice. Do you waterfowl with the lab?
Yep.
Okay, nice.
Yep. Field geese.
Nice.
That is my dude. I love sky pandas.
Sky pandas, yes. Oh, I haven't done too much waterfowl. I didn't do too much last year, but that's kind of where I started, was doing some waterfowl. And man, sitting in a either layout blind or a pit or something in a cornfield, man, that's a blast.
It's fun. It's just fun hunting. I think a lot of just hunting is just fun hunting, right? It's like I was just talking to our shoer. He's like, man, I used to love just getting after it, and he's killed some great deer and he's killed some big bulls. And he's like, that was like all I could think about. And he's like, anymore, it's like, I realized it wasn't like super fun. Like it was cool. Like it was very objective based, but he's gotten big into trapping is his thing right now. And he's like, dude, I can take my kids with me. I can go out. And he's like, I totally get why you love your dogs. I mean, it's like, dude, I get to go out. I'm with my buddies. We get to catch up, and like, we probably wouldn't see each other otherwise if we didn't, right? So it's just fun to get out and put some dogs on the ground, catch up, shoot the shit, and maybe a bird or two.
Maybe a bird or two. If we see a bird, that's a good day sometimes.
It is.
It's like, you're in the right spot. Gives you a little confidence. It's like a well-rounded, like, I saw a bird. It was a good day.
I don't need to shoot. Shooting a bird doesn't mean anything to me, but
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, real quick, talking about picking up a dog at the wrong time. Case in point, right here, man. We're picking up a dog on Saturday, and our baby is due in 4 weeks. So, bro, it's like, dude, like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is wrong with?
Well, because you have 2 right now, right?
No, we got 5 right now.
You've got 4.
So this is
5?
number 6 on the way.
Dude,
there's a 6 on the way, bro.
You are
I know. I'm like, what is wrong literally with this scenario? But here's the thing. My wife agreed to it. I was like, hey, honey, there's this great litter. Like, we're driving back from Texas over 4th of July. Like, there's this awesome litter. Like, what do you think? She's like, yeah, I really, she met the mom before and she really liked her and whatever. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, are you nuts? Like, so yeah, Paul's crazy, man.
I'd imagine it's probably like kids, but after, 2 or 3 of them, it's not a big deal to throw another one in the mix. And that's the funnest part for me is the young dogs. Like, I love an experienced dog, and I love that I know there's every once in a while. I mean, I hunt a lot of my dogs just one-on-one. Sometimes I'll run them together, but I like one-on-one, and it's just fun every year. I've got my oldest dog. He's 12 now. And dude, it's just fun. He doesn't get around like he used to. He's still got a lot of hunting him. He does good, but he's just old. He's a 12-year-old short hair, and he's just beat up and old. And it's just fun, dude, to go hunt some grouse with him and sit under a tree and scratch his head. And it's just like, dude, like, yeah,
that's cool.
It's fun, dude. But the puppies are fun. Watching that dog come to and connect dots, those aha moments they're pretty special.
It is a blast. How was last season for you, man? We haven't talked in a little while here on the podcast. You were back way on, I think I'll have to look back, maybe episode 6 or something like that. But catch us up. What was last season like for you hunting birds?
Last season was fantastic, man. We had moved back to where I grew up to, and it was kind of I guess I can't say it was, because every day seems like it's a evolution or an advancement, or kind of just a step in the right direction just for Final Rise as a business. And so it's this constantly evolving and moving thing that, it definitely sometimes takes up more hunting time than I would like for it to. But, I feel super blessed that we're as busy as we are. But it was really fun because, moving back to where I grew up, I hadn't really got after grouse in a long time. And that's what I cut my teeth on. I can drive a 4-wheeler, 20 minutes behind my house and just have phenomenal grouse hunting. And it was fun to go back and hike a lot of trails, drive a lot of roads and places that I hadn't been on in 20 years.
Wow. And
so that was pretty special to be able to go back. And it was kind of like that, just reminder of, why I started bird hunting and what it meant to me. And I hunted I slowed down. I guess that would be the best way to put it. I hunted a ton. We did, a lot. We still hunt a lot, but it was just it was a different mindset. It was a different approach. And, it was a really good refresher for me to have just a little more variety, be seeing a couple different places. And I did hunt alone a lot last year. I live an hour or two from most of my buddies. And so we got out a bit, but it was just a good little reset for me. It was exciting. It was very enjoyable.
Again, for me, I've told this on the podcast before, but there's a tipping point where you go out and it's not all about the kill. It's not all about the kill. It's like you like you said, you slow down a little bit. That's where hunting becomes fun. That's where it becomes really enjoyable, where you slow down, you care about being out there with your dog, the scenery, the nature you get to be in. That's where it gets to become just fun, more fun almost. And I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, I think and there's a cycle in hunting, right? And I think it's applicable to every, and this is probably not just hunting, but so many different hobbies or things that we kind of embark on in life. We start out and we just want to be successful, right? We're willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. And then once we get a small taste of that success, it's all about a lot of success. And then it tapers into, well, I want to be successful in a certain way, whether that's a method, different hunting dogs, different shotgun styles, whatever that is. And then I feel like you kind of get to a different point where it's dude, I'm just happy to be out with my dogs, and, shooting a bird doesn't mean anything to me. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. That's still so exciting. But it's I just in my mind, I picture it happening a certain way. And if that bird's getting up, or if the situation is any different than what I guess I hoped for, I'm okay to watch it fly away. It's I want those Kodiak moments that are, permanently ingrained in my mind, those special memories with those dogs. That's what I'm trying to create, because that dog's not here forever. I only get so many seasons behind him. And so that slowing down, I feel if you aren't hunting a little bit slower, if you aren't living a little bit slower, it's so easy to miss that stuff.
That's so well said right there, man. I think we can all learn something just from that little section right there, man. Good call of the day. Do you pay attention much to, I guess, some of the bird number reports or things that are out there? What's this season looking like for you? Not only what are some trips maybe you are looking forward to, but how's Utah looking for maybe chukar, grouse?
Yeah, I think, I feel half of the phone calls I have on the phone talking to guys ordering bests or answering questions and different stuff like that, there's definitely a lot of bird talk. And here in Utah, dude, we've just got so much moisture. And I think everybody in the past couple of years has definitely felt that drought. I think that's kind of been a universal type thing here throughout the West. But we've just had moisture and moisture and moisture, and it's just been consistent. It hasn't come in big dumps, or haven't been freezes that are killing hatches and different stuff like that. It's just been this steady consistent flow that I feel like we need. And, we ride the horses a bunch. I'm up in the mountains a lot. And I mean, grouse numbers are out the wazoo. I haven't seen this many grouse in a long freaking time. I haven't been out looking at chukar. I have talked to a couple of guys that have seen quite a few birds. In Utah, when I started chukar hunting was like the Mecca. I mean, that was like the high point of that cycle. And it wasn't uncommon to just have to walk up one ridge and you'd have your chance at shooting a limit of birds in a 30-minute hike. I'm talking like gobs of birds. And I was definitely at that stage of my hunting career where it was like, I don't have to have a plug in my gun. Cool. Boom, 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 boom. and you couldn't hit your ass with both hands when you shoot like that anyways. But it was just crazy. And so, having experienced that and maybe being in the mindset that I'm at now, like when I go chukar hunting, I'm expecting 3 to 4 miles per covey of birds. And those coveys may only be 4 or 5 birds. So a lot of times I'm looking to take a single bird out of a covey. There's a lot of times I'll just shoot one time. But I think across the board, I think, grouse are probably a good indicator of the rest of our state. And based on what I've heard, things are looking good. We'll go do, there's a project that I'm working on with a couple guys. We're going to do some final rise films this fall and do a couple stories. And I'm super, super excited. It's the same guys that did Tailgate Tales. I don't know if you've seen some.
Yep. I just watched that.
Eric and Jasper. And, they were kind of taking a break from tailgate going into this fall. I think this past year about killed them. And I asked them if they'd cock another gun and put it to their head for me. And they said, yes. So, so we're going to get after it. So we'll go to Montana a couple times, potentially Michigan. I'll go do Washington, Oregon, and then hunt, sage grouse in Wyoming, Idaho for sharptail, stuff like that. So we'll get around.
That sounds exciting, man.
I was looking at my calendar. I was like, crap, I just need to put all into perspective because I still big game hunt a lot. And I drew a really good mule deer tag in Wyoming, and I got an Idaho elk tag, and my wife has a deer tag. And so I was like working through my calendar, and it's just like blue lines after blue lines. I'm like, when am I going to work? I'll figure that out later, though.
Figured out later. There should be a whole podcast episode on how to not just hunt plan, but like schedule hunt planning. That's a whole it can be so overwhelming, man. It's again between work and family schedules and just those two things alone.
And I feel like I've got it easy. I've got my normal job is very flexible and forgiving, and we run our own business obviously, and then it's just my wife and I and the horses, and my dad's my neighbor. So if I need to leave dogs behind or whatever, dogs are taken care of, horses are fed, and half the time I'm out racing and I'm hunting. So it's not a super big deal. So I feel lucky. A lot of times I just pick up and go, and whatever happens,
those are sometimes the best trips right there. It's the kind of night before, like, all right, we're going.
Yep. We do that probably a little more than we should, but it's fun.
Yeah. Remind me, does Utah have rough grouse as well as blue grouse?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They'll be mixed all the time. I mean, it's not abnormal to, have those birds get up together.
Oh, wow.
Or be walking a ridge, move through a covey of blues, and then pick up some roughs on that same ridge.
Oh, wow. So they act pretty similar then? Same kind of habitat-ish?
Like the blues are always up as high as possible. They're on the ridges, on the very, very top, kind of in the jack pine, little sparser habitat. I find more of the rough grouse in the aspens or in those really young aspen stands. Okay. The really thick stuff, like you can almost like not even walk through it type stuff. And then obviously water. I just look for water. I'm just looking at, whatever mapping system I'm using, whether that's Onyx or base maps or whatever. And I just look for freaking water, man. And look for a little bit of little bit of a topography and some rocks and different stuff like that. And nine times out of 10, you're moving birds. So
wow, that's cool. That's cool.
It's fun.
I've been working with Ben Proctor at all, Be Pro Kennels. So I've been working with him a little bit on a dog box he's building for me, and I'm like, I might just come pick up the dog box from you in Utah and just early September do a little hunt. So
hey, there's a couple empty bedrooms in my basement.
Yeah. Awesome.
Welcome here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Utah's a state I've never hunted yet, but would love to knock off some blue grouse, and rough grouse would be incredible. So that'd be pretty fun.
They're fun, dude. I think, I had like forgotten like where they live, especially some of the blue grouse. I mean, and maybe some of the places that I enjoy hunting them, dude. It's just as strenuous as chukar hunting. I mean, it's some steep stuff, and you're gonna walk a long ways, and a lot of times you're getting into some pretty deep snow if you can get up to where they're at late season, November, December. But like, it's tough wing shooting too. I mean, when chukars are big, they're small and they're fast, but they're not darting through trees most of the time. You get blue skies behind them, game over. But you get a grouse flashing through the Quakies or blowing up in a big jack pine stand. There's a lot of times you might not even see them. So sure. I'd like forgotten that. I'm like, is it hard shooting when they're in the wide open? No, they're like freaking turkeys trying to get on the ground. It's like 1,000, 2,000, okay, let's shoot it type deal. But like, but they're cool. And that's that whole perspective and that uniqueness and variety, I think, is what makes it so fun. And man, how cool to live in a state where I can hunt bluegrass behind my house and drive an hour that way and be chasing chukar. Like, dude,
all right, cool. Matt, stop rubbing it in.
End of September.
Some of us have to drive many, many hours. Oh man. Hey, you mentioned the Tailgate Tales. Talk a little bit about Final Rise involvement with Tailgate Tales. I just watched the episode a couple nights ago, and it was pretty freaking cool. Really fun. I think right now, as we're talking, only episode 1 is out, but talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So Tailgate Tales. So Eric. I've known Eric for a while now. He was actually one of the very first people, like yourself, Will, to order a Final Rise system kind of in those early stages. And during that process, he had some questions, and we talked. And I talked to him on the phone a couple of times. And you know how like it's like that Step Brothers thing, like you talk, someone's like, did we just become best friends? Yeah, like, dude, you talk to Eric, and he is just like salt of the earth, dude. Like such a good human being. And I didn't know a lot about Eric, but obviously through social media, you see what he's posting, and I'm like, I didn't really know to like what level his photography and videography skills were. And I start learning more about him. I'm like, holy smokes, dude. Like, this guy's not only is he a really nice human, like he's so freaking talented. And it was spring of last year. I was driving to California to hunt turkeys, and I was driving through Nevada, and my phone rings, and it's Eric. I'm like, wonder what's up. So I answer the phone, and we catch up for a minute, and he says, hey, I'm calling you. I've got this vision in my mind. And he starts telling me about Tailgate Tales, and I'm like, dude, what a cool name for one, right? I'm like, that's like, Tailgate's kind of got that nostalgic tie to the upland, right? In a roundabout way, as I think it does to so many other types of hunting. But he just started talking about, telling unique stories of people that have gotten into it. And the angle he wanted to take was really kind of this like makers and movers type thing. And what I mean by that, like finding people that were artistic or did things with their hands or created things and somehow tie whatever they did, whatever their skill set was, into like hunting. So this first episode that they did was a gentleman is a professional tattoo artist, and he had been in the military. I think he was in the Marines. I think his name's Patrick. I should know this off the top of my head, so I apologize to him if he hears this. Anyways, just, he wanted to tell this story of this guy that had expressed interest in getting into upland hunting, and I don't think he had hunted before that. I mean, in the film, you see him going out and handling a shotgun.
It was brand new.
Yeah, and you see him carrying it, the gun in the field. It's like, yeah, you're used to carrying, a different type of firearm overseas. Like he's kind of got the stock up on his shoulder and
Yep,
stuff.
I noticed that. I noticed that. It was hilarious.
That's their type of gun safety. I would probably trust him more than I trust most people that have their barrels in the air. But, anyways, and so there's some of these other stories. There's artists. And different things like that. And they actually did do an episode on Final Rise, just kind of told a little bit of our story and how it kind of came to be. And so he had reached out initially to ask me if I would be interested in having a little film done on us. And I'm like, dude, that's so humbling and kind. Like, I'd be so appreciative of that. And so we talked through that, and I think we were kind of just wrapping up the call, and I'm like thinking, how, like, he told me some of the people that were on board, I think, Federal and Gunner Kennels and different stuff like that. And I was like, well, dude, how do I support you? Like, how do we support what you're doing as well? And for a small company, that's like, a lot of times, if you're familiar with sponsoring some of those films and stuff like that, it's a pretty big financial commitment a lot of times. And, but at the end of the day, one, I knew it would obviously benefit our business, being able to tie ourselves to people that are good at what they do. That helps validate our business and helps validate our product. Eric had obviously supported me very early on before he even knew me. And so it just seemed like a great way to kind of just align ourselves with some good people, and kind of just take it to that next level. And I'm so glad that we did, man, because, I knew what his skill sets were. And then I start, as he was working on these stories, he's sharing clips and he's sending me still photography and stuff like that. And dude, I feel like, and I've been in marketing, direct to consumer marketing, digital e-commerce, all that stuff for a long time in the hunting space. Like, I know what things cost, and I know a lot of times what gets delivered. You feel like, hey, I'm paying X amount of dollars, and I feel like I'm going to get this chunk of assets, whatever those deliverables are, dude. And he just like over delivered. I'm like, dude, like you are delivering like so far beyond what I just wanted to be like a part of the deal. Like, I just wanted to be, have our logo in there. And dude, he just took, obviously tons of beautiful images and, cut us a bunch of different social assets and different stuff like that. And again, it just reconfirms, it's like, one, Eric and Jasper are just phenomenal human beings. And it's like, those are the type of people and projects I want to support, because they're bird hunters. They give a damn about bird hunting. They give a damn about conservation and the future of wing shooting. And that alignment to me is everything. And I feel like that's kind of the safeguard, or the way that we're going to make sure that there's a bright future for the things that we love to do. And, anyways, yeah, that was kind of the very long. Sorry, I'm long-winded. That was kind of
that was great, man. Just you talking right there got me like excited. I'm like, all right, let's go tackle the world. Like, this goes good again. Like you said, good people that you work with, like, it makes all the difference in everything you do. Small business, large business. Like, if you're working with great people who are kind, honest, like, humble, deliver more than what they talk about, it's like, those are the kind of people everyone wants to work with, and that makes all the difference.
It does. But anyone listening, Eric's booked, so leave him alone, okay? He's working.
He's busy working with another company. I was gonna ask, I should know this, I just watched the film the other night. Is Eric the one who got the tattoo in the episode?
Is Eric? Yep, that's Eric.
Okay. That's a sweet tattoo, by the way, Eric, if you're listening to this.
When he showed up, and obviously I hadn't seen the film, and, we're like videoing in our shop, and we're in the basement, and we're in our house and stuff like that. And I'm looking at his arm. I'm like, when the hell did you get a tattoo? Like, I've never seen that before. And he told me, I'm like, you got a tattoo just for a movie?
It is like, a badass tattoo.
Like, that's cool, dude. That's cool. And it is a very cool tattoo. So if you haven't watched it and you're listening, Tailgate Tales YouTube channel, go subscribe and support those guys.
Absolutely. It was a blast. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what those guys put out here in the next couple episodes. So I'm excited.
Okay.
Well done, guys. Well, Matt, let's talk a little bit about Final Rise. I just know how busy you are. We chat here and there, and I just know you're running like crazy, man. Catch us up. We're gonna get into some more specifics here in a second, but like, just give us a high level, like, what's been going on with your company, Final Rise.
Yeah, shoot, man. So things are just wonderful.
That's good. That's good.
They're just so good, man. And it's like, I constantly have to slow down and, really look at what's happening. And it's so humbling. And I feel like so freaking grateful, because you work hard, and that, anybody that, has started something or believes in something and like pours their heart into that, dude, like, you work so freaking hard. And so sometimes you get caught up in that work, and it's hard to like see beyond the screen, right? It's hard to look beyond social media. It's hard to look beyond emails and numbers and inventory and all these different things that are necessities that kind of feed the monster, right? And those, you do have to have that stuff in order for it to be able to grow and for it to be able to operate and function how a business should. And so, to be able to kind of hit that pause button every once in a while and just look at, how fortunate we've been to have the support that we have and build it to the point that it's at, like, so cool, man. So freaking cool. And I still look at it, and it's just this little baby. It's the tip of the iceberg, and the future's bright, man. We're working on stuff and just trying to grow it, and grow it in the right ways too, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to grow businesses, and there's a lot of ways, to build businesses, to flip them, and build businesses to sell them off and do different things like that. But it's like, Final Rise is me. Like, this isn't like, man, I hope in 5 years, I get a 3 multiple on my evaluation, and a VC group out of California will come and snatch me up. Like, no, like, I've lived through that, and it's cool to see, and they're cool experiences to watch. And I'm always happy for those people that are on the better end of that. But like, dude, I hope I'm freaking like 65 years old, still picking up my phone in the middle of somewhere, and when someone's calling me to ask me questions about a vest. Like, dude, that's it to me. Like, so anyways, that's the vision. I'm going to be an old fart running around
hunting bluegrass. Like, hey, hang on one second. My dog's on point.
Oh, dude, I've done it. I've answered the phone. I do it in the goose blind a lot of times. I'm like, hold on, I got birds working, and they're like, what? And they hear the guns go. I had one guy hang up on me. It was kind of rude. I probably should have not done it, but I was right.
Priorities. He should understand. Yeah.
Yeah, he should understand. Gosh, no. But Final Rise is doing wonderful, man. This past man, it hasn't even been maybe 3 or 4 months now, kind of put on our big boy pants, and we picked up a warehouse, a really nice warehouse.
Yeah. And finally out of the house. How's that feel?
You know what? Now I'm like, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my house? So if you don't come stay in September, I'm going to feel bad about my decision. But no, it was that thing, you're always trying to hit the walls, right? You're trying to hit the ceiling, and then you need to constantly put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable, and that force you to kind of change your mindset or the way that you look at things, or work a little bit harder, invest a little bit more. And I knew that for the company to keep growing, it wasn't going to happen in my basement. I can't have random people showing up sewing in my basement. I can't have random people showing up in my basement helping fulfill orders and do different things like that. So that was kind of that level up opportunity to put us in a space that not only met our current needs, but also put us in a position that we can push it a little bit more, right? So it was kind of like, okay, here's the next chapter for Final Rise. Here's my 3 to 4 year model. I can lock into this area. Here's what I hope to accomplish to maximize, all this different space and what we hope to do. And the really enticing thing about it as well is where we're at is there's actually multiple units that are stacked on the end there. And I have first right of refusal on being able to move into those as well. So, which is incredible, to be able to, one, move into a building that makes financial sense for us. We got a smoking deal on it, like, so blessed. Move in there and then know that it's like, if we max this out in 2 years,
Yeah.
Cool. There's a building right next to us.
Yeah.
And we can move right in there, and to not have to fully like move a business, which is huge,
Totally.
very costly. I mean, there's all sorts of things involved in that. So it was just, again, I say the word blessed and blessing a lot, but that's what it was, dude. There was just no other way about it. We were trying to figure something else out, and in a roundabout way, Buddy called me and said, "Hey, I just heard of a building that's going up. This small business is moving out. Here's the number. Call them." Called them, signed a lease agreement the next day. Like, it was like,
Dang.
like, yeah, this was it. Like, this is what we were.
Were you kind of like at that point of that phone call? Were you kind of like thinking already? Okay, we need to start looking for a space. Like, we're kind of outgrowing the house.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I was looking at that time. I was already at a point that I knew we needed to step into a bigger space, because I knew based on the timing, it's like, okay, if I can do this in early spring, hopefully we can get our head above water during the summer, preload, try to get as ready as we can prior to going into hunting season. So it was like the right time of the year to make that move. So I was shopping. And I mean, Utah, and particularly the small, it's not a small town anymore. It was once upon a time. The town I live in, like everywhere else in the world that was once cool, is just stupid expensive, and everything is just like through the roof. So there was nothing that was making sense. And literally, dude, to get what we were able to get is just unbelievable, Will. It's like, I feel so lucky, dude.
That's
so
cool.
freaking lucky. It's
so cool
for us. So it just made
that. No, the warehouse looks great, man. You got all your stuff in there now. A lot of the inventory. You've posted a couple videos, and I'm like, good for you, man. Like, just good for you being able to. I don't know. I don't know. There's a handful of guys that talk online about you, and everything we talk about, man, they're like, oh, I'll support Matt until the day I die, or I'm rooting for him, hoping for success. Like, it's just cool to watch this story unfold, honestly.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
I like, it's not anything I'm doing. It's the people that support us, dude. It's good people like you, Will. And I mean that, dude. And I know there's so many other people that are out there legitimately rooting for our business. And like, there's just one thing I've learned in life and in business is there's an opportunity for everybody. There's room for everybody. And lighting somebody else's fire doesn't make yours burn any less bright. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. It's that mentality of there's a multitude of opportunities out there, and, clap for everybody, be clapping for everybody, because everybody gets an opportunity, and if everybody has their time, and we're fortunate, we're able to take a little bit of advantage of what I hope is our time. And I'm going to see how far I can push the boulder up the hill until it cracks.
there you go. What? So how long has Final Ride's been around now? Is it going on 3 years, or just past 3 years?
Yep, 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
If someone just stuck a gun to your head and said, Matt, give me your top 3, I guess maybe takeaways, or maybe top 2 things that you've learned of like growing a business, being successful in it. Like what would you say? Like, if someone just wanted to pick your brain on, say, hey Matt, like, how did you do this? What was your biggest learnings? What would you say?
I would say the first thing is to do something that you are like potentially obsessed with and passionate about, in the right way, a healthy passion, we'll say that, because it's easy to be you. It's easy to be honest, and it's easier to help people. Business is business, and I always tell people there's a lot of ways to make money in this world. A dollar is a dollar, and you can make it a lot of different ways. I've been involved in businesses, and I've been involved with partners and different things like that. And I've seen people put on these hats or these uniforms that weren't them, but it was, they knew that was the role they needed to play at that time to be successful. And at the end of that they could move on and do something else. And I've seen people go through that, and I'm like, not for me. Like, I'm me. Like, I'm always me, whether I'm talking to my wife, whether I'm, doing a podcast with you, Will, or on a phone call with a customer. Like, I can just 100% be me. And I feel like when you're able to do that in a business, that radiates to people, and it creates that self-alignment. It creates a community because we're all the same. Will, there's no difference between you and I. You know how to podcast. I know how to sew, but we're just people. Like we're just normal, but we're doing
regular guys.
We're just regular guys, dude. I'm not doing anything special. But I'm passionate about it, and that's that kind of pull factor that allows me to not sleep and wake up early and sacrifice and enjoy it. And I do enjoy it, and that's the biggest thing is I don't have like this isn't work to me. And people say that, and they're like, "Oh, you work a job you love. You never have to work a day in your life." And it's like
exactly what they sound like. Exactly what they sound like.
But it's true. It's so true, man. Like if you love it and you're passionate about it, it's easy to just be you. And I feel like that passion transcends to the I would say it's equally as important, if not more so than that passion, but focus on the people. You have to focus on the people. It's not about your product. It's not about you. It's about the people and understanding who they are and how that product can help them and helping educate them. And I understand that not everybody needs a several $100 vest. I understand that, and I totally respect that. But I do understand enough people, and I've been on that customer journey myself. I've run the gambit of hunting vests. I've done that. And enough people have that. I just focus on the people that are ready for that, the people that have gone through that journey and said, hey, I started out and I bought what I could afford. I did that for a long time. There's so many of us that I do, and that's how you should do it. You don't need to live outside your means to post a picture of a vest on social media. Like that's just silly, but like there's just that journey that we all go on, and I just focus on making sure that we're true to ourselves, that our product is designed for the people who are going to understand its values and its propositions. And then if they have questions, make sure that I do everything I can for them to feel confident in that investment. Just focus on the people.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's awesome. I love getting those little those little behind the scenes, like how you running this, what's driving you. I love that, man. Thanks for sharing that.
You bet, dude.
Let's as we're kind of talking about some of the products, the vests, things like that. Let's start getting into maybe a little bit of your products, kind of how that's been going, and you have some new developments, things that you've been working on. I guess the newest vest you've launched is the Sidekick vest. Is that right? About six months ago, maybe less.
Yeah, right before. Yeah, dude, it might be more than 6 months because we had it when we went to Pheasant Fest in February.
Oh, okay, you did. Okay.
Yeah. Or was that March?
I think
either way, it's
February-ish.
Earlier this year.
Yeah, yes.
I lose track.
So good.
I don't even know.
Well, whenever it came out, that's your newest vest. Talk a little bit about the Sidekick vest. I know I just picked one of those up a month or so ago, if I can talk sometimes on the podcast. Talk a little bit about why this vest. You had the Legacy, you had obviously the Summit, which is your first one. What was the reason, and what was some of just the rationale behind the Sidekick vest? Hey, hope you guys are enjoying this episode. Just want to take a quick moment and thank our sponsors again, B Pro Kennels, obviously Final Rise, and Trinity Bretons. And if you guys are enjoying this show, would you head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave a rating and review? Now, on Apple Podcasts, we are well over 100, trying to get to 200 reviews on Apple Podcasts. So if you'd head over there quickly and just leave a 5-star rating, write a little review. I love reading those. Once we get to 200, I will be doing a new giveaway for listeners of the podcast. So thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, so the rationale and it's for a long time, and it probably hasn't started making sense until recently with some of these new products, but I've always called our vests systems. And people are like, well, how is it a system? Are you just using that word because it's like a sales word or whatever? It like sounds fancier than it really is. And it's like, no, like from the very conception of the Final Rise brand, from the initial vest, I'm looking 5-10 years down the road to how can I create something that is complementary to every single aspect of bird hunting? And that if somebody says, hey, I'm at that point in my customer journey, right, Will, that like, I understand the value of this product. I understand why it costs what it costs, and I'm willing to make that investment because I know I'm going to be able to probably save money in the long run on gear. But once I make that investment, I'm trying to think, how can I maximize value? How can I make sure that I'm creating complementary pieces of gear that work, that are plug and play with an investment they've already made, right? So we came out with the Summit Vest. That was, our flagship, the do-all Upland vest, any species, any habitat, like it's ready to shake and bake, right? But then along came the Legacy. There's plenty of guys that like, dude, I'm not chucker hunting like all day. I'm not going out and doing this. Maybe I'm doing shorter walks, or I'm doing different things. Maybe I'm coming back and I'm swapping dogs. I don't need to carry, 140 ounces of water or whatever it is. Like, I just need something a little more streamlined. And it makes sense. It's like, why would you buy a vest that has a bunch of bells and whistles that you don't even need when you can get the same amount of performance out of something that's a little bit more streamlined, save yourself some money, but have a product that really caters specifically to what you do. And that just comes with a generalized understanding of bird hunters, right? Like, you have to know, to be able to create bird hunting gear, I feel like you have to be a bird hunter.
It's a good place to start, right?
You can copy and paste anything you want in this world, dude. Yeah. I mean, you could run down to REI, you could pluck a backpack off the stand there, drop it in the box, send it overseas, and say, hey, I want to change XYZ and turn it into whatever, right? And I'm going to start my own brand. And it happens all the time. There's plenty of people that do it, that are trying to make a quick buck, and sometimes you do see that in our space, right? It's just, and that's okay. And there's a product for everybody. I'm not dogging that. What I'm saying is I'm not taking shots at anything, but being an upland hunter is such an important part, because you have to have lived and experienced those things to be able to look at gear in an objective way, to understand, hey, because I experienced this, because I need first aid kit, because I need a bladder, because I need to store my stuff, because I understand weight distribution, because I've been backpacking, I know what a waist belt's supposed to be like, because I've had padded shoulder belts and it really dicked up my gun mount and it made me mad, like I'm not going to put any padding in there. All those different things, like you just kind of have to live through it. And so the Sidekick system is the last piece to that, was, again, understanding a totally different dynamic of bird hunting, and a big part of bird hunting, because let's be real, Will, like how long is bird season? For most people, how long is bird season? A couple months, maybe?
Yeah, if that,
right? I mean, heck, I know people that are going out and spending thousands of dollars on big game hunting gear, and they go hunt for 4 days. Like,
and it's done for the year.
It's the hunt for the year, the weekend warrior, and that's okay. But the Sidekick was really that approach to understanding that people that are passionate about upland hunting, wing shooting, or whatever, they're with their dogs, they're training, and they're doing something oriented to their hobby year-round. My dog only gets to hunt a couple months a year, but guess what? He lives with me the other 300 days or whatever it is of the year. And I'm living for those days that I get to hunt him. And so I'm trying to train and I'm trying to develop that. So anyways, I'm being really long-winded. I apologize. But
no, you're great.
Was really created as to fill another niche in the market for the guys that don't need a full-blown vest. I'm talking quail hunters. I'm talking dove hunters. I'm talking professional trainers. I'm talking people that are going to trials and competing, and they may not even hunt. They just get on their horse and they follow dogs. All wonderful ways to enjoy our sport. And that's the best freaking part about dogs, dude, is you can enjoy them 1,000 different ways. Like, it is awesome. But we all need
possibilities are endless. Yeah, and only gear. And I'm glad you brought up the trials. Is, again, I've been running some NASCAR trials, and the typical trial person will have, because you bring your dog to the line with a check cord, then you clip it to your belt.
Yep.
Then you have shells. Then a lot of people don't carry water, which that's just a personal preference. Whatever else. I love wearing my vest because, one, I'm used to it for hunting. It's how I hunt. I'm comfortable with how the gun mounts on my shoulder strap, all that stuff. And I have water for my dogs. I got the shells in one spot, throw the leash in the pocket in the back. So my first ever trial, someone was like, "Why are you carrying your whole vest out there?" I was like, "Because it has everything I need." I don't know. It's just like, I was like, "Has everything I need in it." Like, I'm ready. Like, whatever. Yeah. So for me, just a side note is like, it's been a really nice function for thinking about trials and training and having all that like in there. And I was doing all that with my Summit. So now with the Sidekick, I'm like, well, shoot, it's just the Summit, but in again, that system that's more compact, lightweight.
Yeah. So, and that's that no matter how, and again, I guess we kind of just said it right, Will, but it's like, no matter how we're enjoying our dogs, we still need gear that supports that specific hobby and that specific passion. So really my hope in developing these systems is that we can create multiple pieces of gear that now become interchangeable and allow people that once they invest in the system. So with your Sidekick, right, well, if you don't want to invest in an entire Sidekick, and I know that you did because you're passionate about both of those, and plenty of guys just say, hey, I just want to have 2 vests, one for each application, which is wonderful, and we appreciate it. But there's plenty of guys that like, dude, I can just swap out the Sidekick game bag onto my Summit system. I can repurpose the same waist belt. I can use my water bottle holders, my water bottles, my shell pouches, my shoulder harness, all that different stuff. So instead of having to go buy a brand new system, if you didn't want to do that, you can swap the game bag out and now you have a brand new kit for a specific application. Yeah. And it just makes it super easy. And again, I guess I try to come back to value is like, we're trying to create more quality gear that now becomes interchangeable. So this system allows you to configure or modify your setup to whatever you're doing. If you want to get that granular, because plenty of really passionate people, it's like we go off the deep end, right? Like we dive all in and we want things that are specific for what we're doing. Sure. Those are hopefully the opportunities that we're creating. And again, it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. We're biting off, a piece at a time, but that's about the only way you can eat an elephant. So
that's true. One of the things, last thing before we kind of move on from the Sidekicks and the vest is the bird bag accessory. Again, like you're saying, it's super easy to like swap those out. So I took the left pocket off, put the the bird bag, whatever you call it, on there for training, and it was super easy to switch in and out. And it was like super nice not to have the vest and a bird bag strapped over me. And I just had stuffed the pigeons in there, threw a couple birds for my dog, and I was pretty nice. Like I was a little apprehensive at first. I was like, am I really going to use it? But I was like, that's pretty sweet. Like, and having that versatility of swapping something out very quickly was really nice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got some range pouches that we're working on right now. So, I mean, you can just have a waist belt, Sidekick game bag type setup, and then we've got these rain pouches, so you can put your Spence on one side, you can have your box of shells on the other. And so it's like, if you're shooting competitively or you shoot enough that it's like, okay, I've already invested in my finalized Summit or Legacy or whatever, I can swap out this pouch. That's all it is. I can disconnect these 4 little buckle dills that are on the side of it and put on this totally different pouch, and now it's optimized for what I'm about to go do. And it just makes it more enjoyable when you have stuff that's specific to what you're doing. The live bird pouch, right? It's just like, wow, this is nice because it's stuff you need. You're going to carry it anyways, so why not put it all into one little setup?
Yeah, exactly. What are those little metal things that you loop through the molly webbing? What are those?
It's called a bar slider is what it's called.
Bar slider. I freaking love those things. They're so, this is so stupid. They're so thin and just small that it makes it super easy to like slip it through those little molly webbing. Yep. They're like super lightweight. They weigh nothing. And I'm just like, that was a really, I don't know, just a small detail that I was when I was putting the bird bag on, or the live bird pouch, I was like, dang, those things are nice. They're like titanium. I don't know. What material are they? Metal?
Yeah, it's just a cast metal. They're like, we use those. One, I mean, obviously they're super easy to on and off. Snaps wear out. Most molly pockets or different things like that, they'll have a tab. You'll weave it through all the webbing, both the webbing on the back of the pocket as well as whatever you're attaching it to, and it's kind of this little weaving process, and it buttons them up super tight. Don't get me wrong, but snaps will wear out. And so with the vision to know that people are going to be taking these on and off, that's why we really lean towards that. It is very lightweight. You aren't creating additional pressure points on your body, right? Because it's just so thin. And they grip so well. Obviously, where you feed them the top through the top, the bottom through the bottom, like there's no play in them. I'll tell you, dude, all the time. People don't even know that they're not sewn on there. People think they're sewn on. People call me, dude, I should have listened to you. I went with a larger waist belt than you told me to. I need to swap it out. And I was like, cool, dude, I'll just send you another waist belt. And they're like, well, I don't have to send the whole vest back? I'm like, no, just take it apart and put the parts on it. And they're like, really?
Wait,
they're
what?
Like looking at it, and it's just so seamless. It just looks so intentional. So it's a wonderful little concept. I really like it.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, let's get into a couple more pieces of gear that you've been cranking out. First off let's touch on the gloves first. These gloves, man, these things are killer. I've tried a lot of gloves. I think I sent you a photo of all like the 4 or 5 different gloves I've tried. I mean, that's a struggle, man. It's just finding the glove that fits your hand well, just feels nice and all that. But talk about the gloves a little bit. Was that something you were just like, all right, I haven't found the right pair. I'm going to figure out my own?
Yeah. I mean, dude, I love gloves. I just have always like good gloves, dude. There's just something about that. It's like the cold side of a pillow, dude. Like, I swear there's just something about good gloves, and there's a lot of really nice gloves out there, don't get me wrong, but I just I hadn't really seen or experienced personally a glove that, again, thinking through an upland hunter and the things that we're doing, the technologies that we're using, cell phones, Garmin's, watches, all those things, how to with the jacket or whatever different things are. And I just didn't feel like there was a glove that was designed specifically towards an upland hunter. And that doesn't mean that other gloves don't work, because they obviously do. And I don't know how to make gloves by any means. And so I know a guy that hand makes a bunch of stuff. I reached out to him because I saw that he had these gloves. I was like, dude, will you make gloves for me? If I can't do something, one, I want to find the people that can do it the best. And I try to support other small businesses, right? I feel like that's a big part of it. If I can support someone else that's doing something cool and it helps our business too, awesome. So reach out to him. Anyways, he referred me to the guy that actually made them for them. It's a company out of Oregon, and got a hold of a kid named Jake and said, hey, dude, I've got this vision for a pair of Upland gloves. And he's like, what? Like Upland gloves? Like, what do you like? He's not a hunter himself, right? But I was like, no, there's these bird hunters and different things like that. And he was like, well, like, tell me about it, kind of pitch me on the idea or whatever, obviously, here's your MOQs and here's kind of what we're looking at and stuff like that. So we start going back and forth, and I just started sending him sketches, and obviously I had lots of gloves that I really liked, and they had certain features that I liked, but there wasn't one that was, overly comprehensive of all of that. And then, I wear a lot of gloves. We do a lot of farming. My wife's big into rodeo. So, you see the gloves that ropers are using, you see the gloves that rough stock riders are using, different stuff like that, and whatever it is, right? So I'm like, how do I just create like these super rugged, durable gloves that work with all the technology an upland hunter needs, and they're super minimal, but they're also super safe. Like, I felt like there was this point of diminishing returns within like material thickness and different things like that. Like, I just waterfowling story, right? Like, late season, you're sitting in the ground blind or whatever, and it's like most trigger guards are not big enough for a insulated glove to be put in there, right? And I was sitting next to a buddy who accidentally put his gun off. Fortunately, nothing happened, right? But it was like, but I just remember that so vividly. It's like, dude, what if you'd been pointing your gun at me? Sure. Like, what if you hadn't been being safe, or you just do it like whatever? Like, sometimes you're out with your buddies and you're just being dumb. But like, I was like, dude, like, and that just stuck with me. Like, sure. I always remembered that. And so I've always been so cautious of the gloves that I use when handling firearms. But the gloves that, gave me the dexterity and feel that I wanted were so thin that it wasn't really an all season glove. It was like, yeah, I can wear this early season. But then when I get to February hunting chucker or whatever, like, my hands are too cold, right? And there were other gloves, there's some gloves that have, windstopper or different types of layers in those. Well, windstopper is non-permeable, which means that it doesn't breathe. So if your hand starts sweating, if you're active hunting, it's counterintuitive because now your hand's going to sweat and it's never going to get warm because that glove can't breathe out.
Sure.
It can't breathe that out. And so it was this, I'm sorry, I'm so long-winded.
You make my job easy, man. Just keep going.
I'm like, dude, I need to shut up. Sorry. And I nerd out. Anyway, so went back and forth. We talked through materials. Obviously, he was the master of his craft. And I said, here's what I'm trying to accomplish, and gave him like those key bullet points. And eventually, obviously, came up with our final rice field glove. So a buckskin top, a little bit thicker leather, but it's really soft, very comfortable, has enough stretch to it. But it's also going to provide enough protection as you're pushing brush, different things like that. And then it obviously being a thicker level or leather, how now brown cow, it's going to provide a greater level of insulation during those late seasons. And leather also breathes. So while it is still insulating your hand, it can still breathe. And hands are like feet. They fluctuate. Some of us run warm, some of us run cold. Sure. So yes, I run our gloves all season. They may be too cold for some people. Anyways, goat skin palm, that's really from the rodeo space. I mean, goat skin is very thin.
So the palm's different than the buckskin.
Yes, the palm is goat. Yep, the palm is goat skin. And goats are just, thinner skinned animals, but they're super tough. And anyways, wonderful leather. That's very popular in the rodeo space.
And why the change, or why the buckskin and then the goat skin on the bottom?
The goat skin is thinner. The goat skin is a lot thinner. I don't remember the exact material thickness to it. But the overall dexterity, I want to feel like the stippling on my gun. I want to be able to feel the tank on my safety. That's just big for me. Okay, and so that goes cool. And I mean, you can manipulate and control a gun very well in an all buckskin glove. Don't get me wrong, sure. But that goat skin really
gives you a little more of that textile or tactile feel almost.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, more of a shooter glove. So the buckskin for more of a little bit heavier duty on the top side, but having a little more dexterity, a little more tactical feel on the shooter glove type style on the palm side. Then we went with touchscreen pointer fingers and touchscreen thumbs. So if you're using your phone, you're using Garmin, whatever it is. There's an old saying that gloves are just good for pissing yourself, right? Like half of the time you're just trying to take your gloves off so you can do what you're trying to do, or you're trying to undo your pants or whatever it is.
Let's just leave them on, not have to worry about taking them off.
Right. It's like I'm doing something. I don't want to have to take my gloves off. So being able to create a glove that it's like, dude, if I need to text my wife and tell her what time I'm going to be home, or if I need to freaking bump a dog or see where my buddy's at on my Garmin, it's just easy. It's intuitive, right? I speak so much to our gear and being intuitive. Yeah. And that's a big part. Gear that you don't notice is on is the hallmark of good gear. And that's kind of what we try to accomplish.
Amen to that.
So
when you forget you're wearing it, that's a good sign.
Yep.
All right. Last piece of glove. Yeah, I love it, man. They've been super comfy, and I'm looking forward to getting them out this fall. So, last piece of gear I wanted to ask you about is the new gun cases you developed, man. Those things look sick. Oh my gosh, so freaking cool. Same kind of question, I guess. How and why did these come about? And then talk a little bit about the product and how they've been doing.
Yeah, the gun cases they're awesome, and they've done we just did one social media post. It talks a little bit about them leading up to them, but we pre-sold our initial run just through an Instagram post.
Jeez.
Yeah, I honestly didn't anticipate that. I was a little, I should probably swing a little bit harder than I do sometimes, but I was like, I feel like, a couple hundred of these will be a good number.
And you had two separate models too, right? You had the long gun and the takedowns. That's two separate. Yeah. So
two different models there. Initially, just started out with the takedown case. There's lots of really cool long gun cases out there specifically, but the shell shuckers reached out once we just said we were doing the the takedown. They're like, "Hey, we want cases too." I'm like, of course, duh.
The shell shuckers.
Those semi-auto boys.
Oh gosh.
Just dog, and I shoot them too. Anyway, so yeah, it's an 18-ounce waxed cotton canvas material, and I loved the material when I first saw it. I was like, waxed canvas in general has kind of this nostalgia in the upland space, right? There's like Filson Vest or Filson Chaps or Upland Chaps, different stuff like that. It's like waxed canvas is kind of just this, like, there's a little bit of a heritage in it in the upland space.
So really cool. Real quick, just to confirm, so sorry to cut you off. Yeah. So we're not talking about the material of a vest, right? We're talking something totally different.
Correct.
Softer. Okay. Because in my mind, when I originally saw your pre-post of it, I was like, oh, it's like the vest material. But then hearing you talk about it a little bit more, I'm like, oh, we're talking like a little bit nicer, like soft. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could absolutely make them out of Cordura because that's what the vests are made out of, right? I mean, it'd be sixes in a roundabout way. But I don't know. A lot of times I tell people, a lot of times I just make things that I want and then just sell the extras.
You selfish son of a gun.
I know. So anyways, went with this waxed cotton canvas, and dude, it's just such a cool fabric. And so it was cool to take kind of this like timeless material that has like just been known in the upland space forever, and put some cool modern final rise flair to it, right? And so I came up with a takedown case design. There's some really cool designs out there. There's obviously other takedown cases on the market, but I wanted to design something that was really, could provide almost like a one-stop shop for like all your gear. So the takedown case can open kind of like a book, so you have a nice padded surface if you're assembling your gun on the tailgate. You've got a place to do that, and then but on the outsides of it, we've got some pockets that are sewn in, but then we've used molly webbing on the sides of it, which is how we attach our accessories. So say for example, you want to build a kit, or you want to have all your collars, your shot shells, whatever in like a grab and go bag along with your gun. Now you're able to do that, and it uses the exact same pockets that you put on your vest. So you could take your rear accessory pocket, or you could take a set of side accessory pockets and attach it onto that vest. So if you weren't using it for one application, say you stripped down your vest for trialing season or whatever you had going on, well, now you can repurpose all the gear that you've already invested in, put it on something, and continue to get more value and more mileage out of that product. So anyways, they're cool. They're super cool. And I just would invite anybody to just kind of go to the website to check them out. But we lined them with a really soft suede fabric. Yeah. It's got some great wicking properties to it. It's going to, if you oil a gun, if you had fingerprints or anything on it, when you slide it into that case, it's going to take those off. Like it awesome. Polishes well. It's not excessive that it's obviously going to induce wear to a firearm, but it's just a really happy medium blend of just something that's just going to take care of those guns. And then we used, for the foam, it's a closed cell foam. It's very different from what, if you were to go to a box store and you were to walk down and look at all the gun cases that they have hanging on the racks there, right? Like a lot of times, like they're super thick, like you'll have like 2-inch foam, but if you grab that foam and you pinch it, you can close your fingers together. There's really, it compresses almost to nothing. This foam is only a 1/4 inch thick, but like you cannot, it's like soft, but you can't compress
firm.
it. Yeah. And so it's like, so now I don't have a case that's super bulky, but if I slide it in with all my other gear, my deck system or whatever I've got going on, there isn't the off chance that whatever I put it next to is actually really potentially going to be able to ding it, because that foam is actually providing a layer of protection.
Yeah,
and so
awesome.
Just tried to go through the process of, I'm not, a lot of this stuff has already been done, and I understand that, but I always look at anything that we create, and it's how can I make it more specific to our consumer, and how can I make how can I just improve it? How can I raise the bar? How can I raise the standard a little bit? Like I said, it's anybody can do a copy and paste into Me Too, but it's how do I make that a little bit better?
Yeah. Well, like you said too, working with those other pockets and stuff, and from your vest pocket. Again, I have 2 pockets I'm not using right now. All right, cool. Throw it on the gun case. And one thing I was going to ask you about the long gun case. I know this is hard doing without the visual, but is it like a zipper? I forget, like where you unzip the case, or do you just slide it in from the end?
It's just a Velcro closure, and it just slides into the end.
That's right.
I stayed away from zippers specifically, and I've minimized zippers in anything that we use. I'll tell my reasoning with a small story. Bought a really nice. I only own probably 2 or 3 new guns. Most of the guns I'll just buy them used or whatever, find them in good condition, and that lets me get more guns. Bought this. It was a SHOT Show special. It was a 16 gauge Satori super light feather. English stock, beautiful gun, dude. Wonderful gun. One of my favorite guns I own. And I was down at a big box store. I was headed to Washington to go hunt pheasants with my friend Jeff. And I was like, I need a better case, And I had some just, normal run of the mill cases or whatever. And I'm like, I want to buy a nice case. And so I went and I found this. It was a kind of a wax canvas type material or whatever, the big toothy zippers. And I'm like, and this thing just looks like the
gold standard.
This is the Ferrari of gun cases, And anyway, so I get home and I'm all excited and getting all my stuff together, and I unzip that case and I just unzip the top of it. Right, I guess I do, and I don't understand why a zipper has to go the full length. Teach their own. Unzip that like a quarter of the way, go to slide my gun in, and that freaking zipper manged side of the freaking barrel, dude. And I was like,
whoops.
What just happened? So I'm anti-zipper for that reason. Not that
it scarred you. It scarred you.
And not that a 5 or 8 gauge zipper by any means is necessarily going to induce substantial wear. I mean, this was a very toothy zipper, but I guess I'm just trying to keep folks stuff in mind. I understand you're putting nice guns in there, or nice guns or whatever guns, but I mean, maybe it takes half a second longer. I really don't know. I mean, it's pretty easy to put a gun in a gun case. So I guess 6 is at the end of the day. You can start splitting hairs if you want, but that's what I wanted.
That's cool. And the long gun case, how you just made it in one size right now, right? One length, and that's 52, 51?
Yeah, 51 and like a half. So it's kind of like that happy medium on the long end there. And the nice thing about the shape, the far end where the barrel would go has kind of a tapered shape to it. Okay. So if you have a shorter gun, if you set the gun more upright, it will catch the shorter end. If you have a longer gun, you can either flip it upside down or angle the back of the stock.
Get a little bit more
length in it. So instead of just having a square end or a round end, we've kind of just there's a soft taper that goes into it. So even when I put an over under with 28-inch barrels in there, there's really minimal, if any, play in it. But I still have room that now I can use that exact same case to throw in, a Browning A5 Sweet 16, which is abnormally large gun. So
those look like big boys. That's good to know, because I was thinking about, I was looking at that long gun, and again, my over-unders are only about 47, maybe 48 inches. In my mind, I was thinking, there's going to be so much play. But like you said, with having that taper, it kind of catches that gun.
Yeah, it does. Okay. I mean, an inch on either side of it. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are like, no, I want it an exact size. And it's like, I personally, if I can buy one case that I can use for all of my gun.
Yeah, you're not going to buy 4 different cases.
Right. That's, I guess that's kind of my mentality again, trying to, I guess, hopefully we can check more boxes for folks and having that little bit longer length. And I don't think you're losing anything if you're putting a shorter gun in there.
I love that. I love it. All right. Anything else you can tease the podcast listeners with? Anything coming down the pipeline that you are working on or close to releasing?
Yeah, I've got those range pouches. We'll have those out soon. I have not in here. I'd show you here. I found a kid that actually, and it's nothing super crazy. Some like game stringers or game carriers or whatever, braided out of paracord with a carabiner on the end.
Oh, nice.
Really nice. You can flip out that buckle or the clip at the top of your on your summit vest for the bladder, or you can just clip it into the harness. So, or if you're trialing or whatnot, you can clip it onto the D-ring in the front. If you're just hunting covey birds or you're guiding, you need additional carrying. Really just simple, very, very minimal thing. Yeah. Just there's been plenty of people that have been asking for them, so we'll have that up. I just need to edit images and hit publish. I did just put these on the website. I haven't said anything yet. I was probably going to do that tonight. This is just I call it a grab it or a 2-shell bandolier essentially. And this is designed to attach to the 2-inch webbing on the front of your waistband.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's a 2-inch, wow, I'm having a brain fart here. Elastic on the front here. It's going to fit everything from 28 gauge all the way up to 12 gauge. And the thing I found, a lot of people are asking for bandoliers or shell loops or different things like that. And we've got some other things we're working on. But, for the sheer aspect of one, either being able to have buckshot or something for coyotes or javelinas, right? Okay. That readily accessible. Or if I need a quick reload, most of the time, I'm probably not going to load more than 2 shells. And even if I'm shooting a semi-auto, right? I mean, chamber's open, I drop one in, close it, and maybe I'm feeding another one, but you're lucky to get one good shot off. And so what I found, I tried to think to, again, coming back to intuitiveness, I'm like, okay, when I shoot, where do my hands go, or where am I wanting to go post-shot to reload? It's like, okay, I've got to drop my hand all the way to my waist. I got to reach inside a shell pouch or do whatever. And that's fine. You can do that fairly quick, but just having it right there on your waistline, right next to that 2-inch buckle on your belly button, when I break a gun open, that's where my hands are.
It'll naturally fall
down.
there.
My hands naturally fall there. So if I can break the gun, and as soon as I'm there, if I can just scoop up 2 more shells, put them in the tube, nice. Close the gun. Very, very minimal thing, nothing sure. earth-shattering by any means. But I hunted with one all this past year, and again, I'm not worried about wiping out a covey. That's not what I'm worried about in any way, shape, or form. Trust me. But I, plenty of guys that are hunting down on the borders where they have pigs or coyotes or different things like that. Lots of guys like to have some buckshot handy if they need to load up and remind a pig to stay away from the dogs, or for guys that do want a quick load. So
yeah, that's smart, man. I'm going to put you on the spot here for 1 second. Any future plans for waterfowl? I know we talked a little bit about waterfowl. I know you love it. I've done it a little bit in the past. Any future plans?
I think at some point we'll definitely get there. Next chapter for us is there's 2 things that rise: birds and fish. I'm a very avid fly fisherman. I grew up. So there's been a couple things I've been working on. I'm a big believer in thoroughly testing and developing stuff before we launch it. So I've kind of been sitting on it and fine-tuning some stuff. We may do it later this fall. I mean, you can fish year-round for the most part, but working on that stuff. Man, I don't want to show all my cards. I got a laundry list. This is like
I'm sure.
This is like my 2022 gear launch list, and it's
gosh.
Some of it I haven't gotten to, but the bottom of that is dedicated to our 4-legged friends.
Very cool.
I think they need some love, so we're hoping to tackle some of that stuff here in the coming months. So
got some man.
Stuff in the works, man. Tip of the iceberg.
That's a tip of the iceberg, man. So exciting. Well, congrats on just the success, man. And again, some of the things you're rolling out, big or small, I think it's making the products you're rolling out, even that little, whatever you call it, the holding a couple shells, like it's a small thing, like you said, but like it's thoughtful. You're making it because of for a reason and for a purpose. And that's always fun to see. It's not just, hey, I'm just going to do this because you've heard either customer feedback or personal feedback that you've seen of like, hey, I think this would help someone out there. And so I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, man. I always try to, the big thing is it's got to be intentional. That's kind of that guardrail we like to kind of use is it intentional? Is it more than just doing it because? Thank you for noticing. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. We are going to start wrapping this thing up a little bit longer. Thanks for carving out some extra time.
Yeah.
So since you are I believe my first repeat guest, I'm going to change up my closing question here. I typically ask everyone, and I'm pretty sure I did it with you back on that episode, but what was the advice you'd give to a rookie Uplander out there? Someone heading into their first season. So we're going to change the script a little bit. And I'm just going to ask you, what's a piece of advice you'd give to someone, the veteran hunter, heading into their another season, maybe their 10th, 12th, I don't know, 20th season? What's a piece of maybe encouragement, maybe a piece of advice that you'd share with them who are listening to this podcast?
Remember that you started somewhere too. And to be the person that you wish would have helped you along the way. Be that person.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it. Okay, and then same kind of deal with the rapid fire questions. These are a new set of questions for you. So we're going to roll through these. You're fired up, man. You're fired up. All right, Matt, for you, what came first? The dog, the gun, or the bird?
Dog.
And why the dog?
Always loved dogs. I've always loved animals. I've always just had, I don't know, I almost feel like a connection with animals, which is I think a lot of hunters do in a roundabout way. And dogs are just special animals to me. I love dogs. I love mule deer. I love elk. I love the birds. And I was that weird kid running around the campgrounds at the national parks with a Polaroid camera, taking pictures of the tame deer, trying to feed them peanuts out of my hands. Like that was me. I love them. I love them all, dude. It's cool. Animals are awesome.
You just gave me such a good image.
Because you've seen it.
Little Matt running around. 100%. Oh, I love it. Okay, this might be a tough one for you. If you could only keep one vest for the rest of your life, which would it be?
Oh, it'd be the Summit, man. I mean, it checks all the boxes for me. And even without, adding additional accessories and stuff like that, it's just as streamlined, but it just has that ability to kind of grow and expand. So that one I know no matter where I go, no matter what I do, I can take that Summit vest and it'll kick ass.
Love it. Most clays you've ever hit in a row? No line.
I don't know if I've ever counted.
Oh, come on.
I've never been. I mean, I shoot sporting clays a ton, but I miss plenty of those. Shoot, dude, I bet you it's. I mean, if we're talking probably high school skipping class with your buddies, driving up in the mountains and flipping them off the hood of your truck, and it's the same throw every single time straight out front. I'd imagine it's around. We'll say 20, just because they're the same way. They're easy. They're just the dead straightaways that
you know where they're going.
Know where they're going. Your buddy threw it the same way the first 10 times. Just keep putting the bead there and pull the trigger.
All right, we're going with it. Locking in 20. All right, just two more here. Fantasy hunt. It's kind of a multi question here. Where at? What bird? With who? And you can only bring one dog.
Oh gosh, dude, that's a doozy. I would really like to go do a ptarmigan slam in Alaska and be able to hunt all the species there. I would definitely take my dog Chief. He's my buddy, even though he's a little turd. And I'd have to just take my wife with me. She's my sweetheart. She's my world. So if I get to go do something cool like that, she doesn't enjoy following me in the Chucker Hills and rarely does it anymore. But if I was to go to Alaska, I think I feel I'd be depriving her of a cool opportunity as well. So
that's awesome, man. Good answers right there. All right, and then last question. This is the one question that has never changed, but we're slightly changing it a little bit for this. Beverage of choice before a hunt, Matt.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Rockstar lemonades, either just the straight
lemonade. You're going the nasty stuff? Oh.
No. No, not even, dude.
No, that's disgusting. You're waking up. Okay, let me paint the picture. Hold on. Just hold on 1 second, okay? You wake up at 4:30 in the morning, okay? You have a big chucker hunt planned, maybe a sharp-tail hunt, okay, whatever it is. You wake up early. You get in the car. You get the dogs loaded. You're driving in the car. What are you reaching for?
Dude, all I hear is Rockstar.
You weird son of a gun.
They're in the fridge. It's convenient. I'm not a big coffee guy.
Oh.
Rockstar it is.
All
dude,
right.
I should handily keep them in business. I should probably buy some stock.
Oh, I honestly didn't even know they still made that. I thought that Red Bull took them over.
No, dude. And they're non-carbonated. They're not. I don't drink carbonation, so they're non-carbonated. I think there's only like 20 calories per. There's like 160 milligrams of caffeine.
Wait, so which Rockstar is this?
So it's the Rockstar Recoveries. So they're
okay.
Lemonade, and then there's an orange, and they have a mango one. The mango one deceived me. The can was the same color, and so I bought them, and then I found out they weren't the orange flavor, so I was a little bothered. But anyways, they do. Sometimes they have fruit punch too. Every once in a while, that'll come and go. But the lemonade and the orange are the two constants. And buddy, they're dangerous. There is no smoother drink, dude. You could pop the top on that, open your throat, and it's gone.
So that's interesting. That's not carbonated. That's interesting.
It's delicious.
That's a weird concept to this Midwesterner. Everything's carbonated. Everything's carbonated in Chicago, man. You could carbonate coffee if you could there. Man. Well, dude, I feel I have nothing else to say. I can't even. Well, Matt, this has been the blast, man. Thank you for jumping on another podcast, and again, just giving us a look into Final Rise, what you've been up to. You got your hands full with the company, that new puppy of yours, and sounds like some cool things ahead. So I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Will. Thanks for having me on, dude, and keep kicking butt, dude. You're killing it. Love your podcast. Love everything you're doing, and appreciate you as a human too, dude. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Well, that's a wrap of episode 55 with Matthew B. Davis of Final Rise. Matt, thank you so much, man. Again, I always enjoy chatting with you. I love getting to peek behind the curtain of what's going on at Final Rise, hear a little bit more of your passion and your story. It's something I really appreciate, and keep killing it, man. You're doing awesome. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review. And don't forget to sign up on Patreon. August will be over before you know it, and I'll be drawing a winner for the August giveaway. So, reminder, Gunner Fan Kit 2.0, a Cable Gangs tie-out system, or a knife from Upland Knife Company are the three prizes that are left. We already had our July winner take the Final Rise vest. And so, winner's choice. Whoever wins the August giveaway will get to choose one of those three prizes to walk away with and head into your season opener with some new gear. So that's always a good thing. So patreon.com/the Upland Rookie Podcast. Sign up today. Hey guys, hope everyone's having a great summer so far. I know most people's kids are maybe back in school. I know my kids are back in school. Fall is closely approaching. There's a lot of excitement. We have a new baby coming on the way. We just got a new puppy. I know we are nuts, but some exciting stuff ahead here, guys. Not only for the podcast, my family, hunting season, all that kind of good stuff. I hope you guys are all doing well and just enjoying life, enjoying your bird dogs, enjoying your family, your kids, your wife, your spouse, whatever it is, guys. Appreciate the little things in life. That's what means the most. People around us, the bird dogs around us. So anyways, until next week, put some miles on those boots and follow your favorite bird dog. Take care.